Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of an anime review. We're reviewing anime. Now before we start, my top 5 favorite characters are as follows. Lucy number 1, Juvia number 2, Gagio number 3, Urza number 4, and Loxus number 5. Those are my top 5 characters. So I'm going to start off by reviewing the first section of the anime, which is 175 episodes. Okay. I'm not going to go through every episode because there's 328 episodes in this anime. And there's also a sequel, but I'll review that differently because it's named differently, but whatever. My thoughts on Fairy Tail on the first section, and then we're going to go on to the second section, and that's why. So the first section is Lucy trying to join Fairy Tail. She joins it, and it's just the first 5 or 6 episodes or filler episodes. And then we get some backstory on Urza. Urza is the main focal point of the first part of Fairy Tail, and her relationship with Jalal. Which Jalal is a fucking prick at the beginning part because he's possessed and he's an asshole. So yeah, that's the main thing about that one. Pretty much so. He fails on his duty. Afterwards, he fails on his duty. The thing about Jalal gets his ass kicked by Urza, which pretty much, or Natsu, because Natsu's the main character. So that's the main thing about that. Okay. Now then, during this process of thing, Lucy, a Dark Guild wants to capture Lucy because her father wants her back. That's also another arc there. Natsu and his buddies say, fuck you, we're not going to do that. So yeah, that's what the main thing about that one is. After that, they go up against the Irrational 6, I believe. I might be missing a few things, but this anime is too fucking long, so I'm just going to skim it through it. Okay. So, they fight the Irrational 6, which, by the way, all the Irrational 6 except for one member turn into good guys at the very end, because the other guy the only guy that does not join the good guy side is the guy that the Restaurant 5 kill him before he gets a chance to live, which I think is pretty fucking funny. So anyway, as I was saying, that anime is pretty fucking good. Okay. Now then, when they join up with Wendy and they beat the Irrational 6. Wendy is a Sky Dragon. Now there are 7 Sky Dragons, which is Loxus, Gagio, 2 members of Sabretooth, which we'll get into that when we get into the last section of the anime, and then we've got Wendy. The one of the Irrational 6 members is a Dragon Slayer, and Natsu. So those are the 7 Dragon Slayers, okay? They each have a different element. Natsu's fire, Gagio's iron, Wendy's wind, air, pretty much. The guy from the Irrational 6 is, I think his name is Eric. He has poison, and the other 2 guys have lightning and darkness. So yeah. But as I was saying, Wendy joins Fairy Tail because when she's part of a guild, but the guild doesn't exist at the very end of the Irrational 6 incident. So that's the main reason why. After the Irrational 6 incident, we have a few filler episodes during that whole time we have a few filler episodes of Lucy trying to get more keys, because Lucy is the main character, to my opinion, because she has more screen time during this part because she needs to get all the celestial keys. She doesn't have powers like Natsu and everyone else. She uses keys. She's a celestial wizard. She has to open up a key. So yeah, I'll get to that when we get to that. This anime review will be fucking long, I'll tell you that much. So after that, after all that stuff's done, Loxus becomes a fucking dick, which is her grandfather. After all this, because Gagio and Juvia, two of my top 5 characters of all time, they get introduced as bad guys because they want to capture Lucy for her grandfather. Her father wants them to capture Lucy. They fail miserably because Natsu kicks the crap out of them. But anyway, that's what happens. Okay, so yeah. But they join Fairy Tail at some point because Juvia falls in love with Gray and she wants to join Fairy Tail because of it. She convinces what's his face? She convinced the Iron Dragon Slayer. I'm gonna call him that now because I can't remember his name at this point. Um, he joins in even though no one likes him because he pinned three of the guild members, not characters, three of the guild members up on a tree with iron, and they got their asses kicked. The funny thing is though is that one of the people that he kicks the crap out of him, sticks him on a tree, she falls in love with him, which I think is pretty fucking funny. Gagio, when Gagio gets introduced, I thought he was gonna, when he gets introduced into the guild, when he turns into when he joins Fairy Tail, I thought he was just gonna be a massive prick. But they lighten up on him as the episodes progress when he joins the Fairy Tail Guild. Like he joins it like he's being a prick, but later in the series he decides to play guitar like a fucking jackass, and I love it. So yeah, Gagio is probably my favorite characters. One of my favorite characters. He's number 3, but Juvia and Lucy are better, to my opinion. So that's the first section. Loxus becomes a dick. He wants to take over the guild, and he gets his ass kicked by Natsuo and Gagio. Okay. After that section, there's another section about random stuff, stuff like this, that, and the other thing. And then you have a trial to be an S-Class wizard. During the time, they have to go through this island. A few characters are picked, which the characters that are picked are the characters that don't age for 7 years because they're not part of the guild. Because they get to fight a dragon at the end of the arc, and because he wiped the island off and everyone dies, sort of, but it's technically in suspension. Like they did a magic power thing, a magic spell to keep them alive by making them live for 7 days, even though when they live for 7 days, 7 years in the real world has gone by. So they missed 7 years of it, and now they're the laughingstock of the Fairy Tail Guild. So that's when they join a tournament to see if they can get back their number 1 spot, which they do, but I'll explain that later. So they are the best team. However, when this happens, a future Lucy warns them that something bad's going to happen, and that's what happens. Which we'll get to that when we get to that. But during that time frame, Jalal has broken out of prison, and he's a good guy now. He's helping the team out, and he's got his 2 buddies, the person who can stop time and also travel back in time, and also his companion, where they fought against Natsu and everyone else and Gray and stuff like that. So that's the main reason why. They also have a fight in that section too, which we'll get to that. My main thing about this arc is that we're moving on. The main thing about the tournament thing is that it leaves off of a cliffhanger, because episode 175 leaves off on a cliffhanger, and that puts us back into episode 176, which is pretty much moving forward into the tournament still, because we're still in the tournament. At the very end of the tournament, Fairy Tail wins, but then they realize that dragons are gonna come through the fucking gate because the kingdom thinks that they're gonna save the world by opening up the gate, and the gate just summons a bunch of fucking dragons. Okay. And there's a future Lucy that gets killed. So the future Lucy gets killed, which I think is really bad. But Lucy gets killed, sort of. I mean, it's her future self, but she does die. And then they have like a bunch of other stuff that happens. So yeah. During this time, however, after the dragons go back to their own time frame, because they do eventually stop them, everything's peace, everything's love, until the main villain comes in, which he gets introduced during when they go to the island. But he's sort of like a good guy, but he doesn't want any violence. But at the end of the arc, he decides to say fuck it and kill everything. That's what he wants to do. So yeah, um, the first guild master and the first guild master is still alive, even though she's like looks like a fucking teenager, and she wants to save the Zeref, which is the main villain of the whole series. He gets introduced during the island arc. During this time, though, these dark guilds are trying to fuck up Fairy Tail. Now, when it comes to the last arc of the second half of the last arc before everything wraps up, the second to last arc, big arc, the Totoros arc, I got so drained during that. I had to skip some of the dialogue because I got so bored. That's probably like the worst thing ever because it just dragged on. However, during the Totoros arc, Lucy gets a badass moment because she saves everyone because she's the only one left from a magic spell that makes everyone frozen into a pink ball of bubblegum. I'm gonna call it that. So she saves everyone, even though she's got celestial spirits. However, because she broke one of her keys, she summons the celestial king, but she loses Aquarius, which is her best friend since she was a kid. Aquarius did not like her until she broke the key because she felt like she was a bad person. So yeah, it's like that. Celestial spirits have feelings. She decides to care for them. It gets introduced when they're versing in Restaurant 6 because one of the Restaurant 6 has 3 keys and she treats him like shit. So that's the main thing about that, and the celestial spirits don't want to beat her up because of that reason. So that's the main reason why. So yeah, they also get help from Blue Pegasus, which during Fairy Tail Series 2, there's this filler episode that sounds like a fucking horror episode because the Blue Pegasus is another major guild. But the problem with Blue Pegasus, however, and this is the main reason why I don't understand why the fuck this happened, is the fact that how do I put this? The main guild, the master of Blue Pegasus is like a guy who has a man face, and he makes a potion that if you sniff it, you turn into his face, and then you turn into a fucking zombie. And then you start acting like him, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. That episode was like, what the fuck am I watching at? That was like the best fucking episode. But the Totoros arc was probably the most draining one, unlike the last arc, which wraps everything up. So that's pretty much about it. Now, Lucy is my main favorite character. She has the most tragic backstory, because of the fact that when she gets stuck on Taro Island, and because of the fact that there was a 7-year gap, her father died during that time, and that's the scary thing. He was not the best person ever, and that's the main thing about her. She lost all her family. Her mother died shortly after, but she does get mentioned every now and again because of reasons. She also helps save Natsu by doing some weird stuff with a book at the very end. I like the last arc. I like the soundtrack of the last arc when some of the fucking scenes in that final season of Fairy Tail was like ridiculous, like because of the soundtrack. But that's beside the point. But Lucy's my favorite character because of that reason. She is the most tragic backstory. Now, when it comes to Lucy, however, when it comes to her arc, she gets stretched out. Like, she has moments every here and there, but she doesn't have a major focus arc until the very end of the very last arc, which is like a few episodes. But she does grow as a better person, try to be a better fairy tale wizard for the guild in the future, and that's what I like about Lucy. Juvia is my second favorite one because of the fact that she has an obsession towards Gray. Gray's an ice wizard, and she falls in love with him because she thinks he's hot, and he wants her to live. Juvia, if you must know, she's a woman who is made out of water. She is a good person, and I love her to death. She's smoking hot just like Lucy, but the difference between her and him is the fact that both characters, Lucy and Juvia, changed their uniform throughout the whole entire series. Like, they're like the only two characters that I noticed that. Like, they changed their characters' clothes every single arc, so to speak. It's really fucking interesting. That's why I like those two characters. Now when it comes to the Iron Dragon, the Dragon Slayer, what's his face? I forget what his name is, but whatever. The guy who eats iron, he's my favorite character because he starts out as a prick, and once he joins Fairy Tail, he starts to be more funny, and he also becomes more along the lines of helping his friends out, and that's what I like about him. He's really good. He's actually grown on me a lot, so yeah, that's the main reason why. As for Urza, after Jalal gets defeated, she gets mentioned every now and again between the arcs here and there, but the main thing about Urza is the fact that once her major arc is done in the beginning of the anime, she's pretty much in the background because then it's just Natsu and Gray and everyone else. However, she does help them out realize that they're best friends and stuff like that, so that's the main reason why. And Loxus, because Loxus is a jackass at the beginning of the anime, but then he decides to warm up to everyone, and then he's a nice guy. So that's the main reason why. I don't know how he's a Dragon Slayer, though, but whatever. As for the 7 Dragon Slayers, the 2 people from Silvertooth, I think it's called, their guildmaster is a dick, and that's introduced during the survival games arc. I might call it that. And then they decide to kill him or beat the crap out of him until he turns evil. So, our 2 Dragon Slayers are Lightning and Darkness, and which one of them, I forget that one of them's name is, but the other one's name is Rogue. And they are the best, they think that they're the best Dragon Slayers ever. During this time, though, that's what happened, so yeah. So, anyway. As for Natsu, Wendy, and Gagio, those 5 characters all got raised by dragons. Okay, the only 2 Dragon Slayers that did not get raised by dragons are Eric and Loxus. Loxus is the lightning dragon style person, he's lightning, and Eric is the poison guy. So yeah, poison guy. He actually helps them out at the very last fight, which is pretty fucking dope. But what my thoughts on it? I think this anime is better than Dragon Ball Z. Yes, I fucking said it. I think this anime is really fucking good. I think it's better than Dragon Ball Z. Now, I must explain something to you. I think it's better than Dragon Ball Z, but I can't say if it's better than Super GT or Dragon Ball because I've never watched those things. I've never watched those 3 series from beginning to end, so that's why I'm saying it's better than Dragon Ball Z, and I already got the Dragon Ball Z fan base coming after me because they're a bunch of fucking homers. So yeah, I think Fairy Tail is better than Dragon Ball Z. I can give this anime a 10 out of 10. Now, is it better than Naruto? Structure wise, yes. Character development, yes. How it impacted my life, no. Because Naruto's the main reason why I watch anime in the first place religiously. Fairy Tail, on the other hand, knows how to do their characters right. Because in Naruto, in the original Naruto, episode 137 to 220 are all filler episodes. Okay? On top of that, most of the characters in that anime except for 7 characters, which is Rock Lee, Neji, Choji, Kiba, and Shikamaru, are the only characters that actually do something. In Fairy Tail, every character except for the side characters, they all have character arcs. Like Maria, all the characters have like arcs of their own, and that's the main reason why I like Fairy Tail. There are some arcs that I forgot. Like, for example, they go to another world where there's no magic, and they have to eat these X pills from Mystigan, which Mystigan is Jalal, but he's from a parallel world, and blah this, blah that. Yeah, it's really that arc is really fucking confusing. I got really fucking confused. Like, there's 2 Natsus. One guy's a firehead, and the other character is like I don't know, a fucking pussy. Like, what the fuck? So that's what my thoughts on it. Okay, so when it comes to Fairy Tail, it's a really good anime. However, you need to be cautious because this anime is long. It's the longest anime I've ever reviewed. There's 328 episodes, and what the fuck was that? There are 328 episodes of this anime. So if you're gonna watch it in bursts, because that's pretty fucking long when it comes to an anime structure. There's 328 episodes. They're all in dub. They're all in sub. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I enjoyed it. So before I end this part, we're gonna be reviewing a lot longer animes now, for the time being. So the next anime review will be a kids anime, which I will try not to swear much. So I hope you guys have a nice positive day. Take care and stay positive, everyone.